Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're looking at On Being the Right Size and Other Essays by J.B.S. Haldane, compiled and edited by John Maynard Smith. J.B.S. Haldane was a scientist, geneticist, mathematician, and biologist, and he was a pretty seminal figure in evolutionary biology during his time. And being born in 1892, he lived in such an exciting time for biology, and he was a very fascinating character, too, described by Ernst Mayr as a polymath. So if you want to look up the work that he's known for, make sure you have plenty of time. I'm not terribly familiar with his work, but I picked this book because JBS Haldane is one of those names that I've heard and held in reverence by other biologists. On Being the Right Size and Other Essays was originally published in 1985. So this book is very much an opportunity to travel back in time into the mind of a very brilliant man. John Maynard Smith sets the mood with an introduction for Haldane's 20 different essays in this book. And as far as the content, there's such a wide array of subjects here. Some of these feel less like essays and more like journal entries or simply introspective musings, again, from a very brilliant person. There are essays on subjects as diverse as cats, germ killers, and reflections on nonviolence. The namesake on Being the Right Size was really good, talking about how small insects and things have a totally different relationship to things like water, surface tension, and gravity than we do, and how simple diffusion for gas exchange works with sufficiently small organisms. It's the kind of science talk that we all love. Some of the ones I liked the most, besides that one, were How to Write a Popular Scientific Article, which is just what it sounds like, When I'm Dead, which is Haldane discussing the utter lack of evidence to support any speculations on a post death existence, and one that really had me turning the pages was The Last Judgment, which is theoretical possibilities for a speculative future. And this one read just like a straight up sci fi short story. I mean, that's exactly how it felt reading The Last Judgment, and it was just as good as any sci fi author I've read. I mean, it was really good. It involved coping with changes in the speed of the Earth's rotation and seeing changes in the moon's distance from Earth and the Earth's distance from the sun. But I was just surprised at his breadth of imagination, talking about certain plants evolving to complete their entire life cycle over the course of a day, which is many, many times longer than our 24-hour day. But it was really cool. You can get this sense that the you can tell it was written a long time ago, but not in any way that takes away from the reading experience. But talking about exploiting ocean tidal energy generation and no mention of global warming. And I have to confess that reading his thoughts about after death did invoke some feelings of solidarity for me because I was just thinking, yes, I can relate with this guy because this is just what I think about the subject too. And it's always nice when you're feeling a connection with the author, but that connection would only surface in places. No discussion about JBS Haldane can be had without mentioning his involvement in communism, and he does sometimes try to slip it into his essays here and there, sometimes drawing a parallel that to me seems a little bit forced, but I'm interested in the science more than any political writings. That's something I have never really studied, so I don't really have much to say about it. Other than that, I can't imagine what it must have been like living through those times. I mean, this guy was a captain in the British Army in World War One, and he was a naval scientist in World War Two. He talked about how grateful he was for getting the opportunity to fight in a war, which to me sounds absolutely mad. I mean, I can't relate with that at all. But this guy also sounds like he had a pretty crazy childhood. Like his father was a pretty important and I think somewhat eccentric character too. I guess he was kind of destined to make his mark on the world. So that's on Being the Right Size. But I really like that cover too. Look how he holds his pipe with just his mouth. I wonder what he was thinking about for that picture. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. JBS Haldane is a name that had been on my radar for a long time. and I'll be keeping an eye out for more of his work. So please let me know if you've read any of his books and what you thought about them. I'm a little behind with the reviews because I've been pretty busy with different things, but I have read a couple more books that I want to record reviews for, and I'm really excited about the book that I just started reading, which is this Compost Science for Gardeners by Robert Pavlis, who has a gardening channel on YouTube. So keep an eye out for this one coming down the road. We've seen some pretty great biologists on the channel lately, and I'm curious about some of the authors that you guys like as far as science and nature and stuff. And I really appreciate you guys sharing that kind of thing, because one of the reasons I like to do this is to learn more about different authors and just what other people think and are interested in. I don't really know many people who are very passionate about science and nature, so it's really cool to hear from you guys. So yeah, let me know about some authors and books that this one might have reminded you of. And if you've heard of JBS Haldane, do you remember where you learned his name? And if you like what you heard here, check out On Being the Right Size by JBS Haldane.